This season of the Good Up podcast is sponsored by Empath Psychological Services. Good Up is our space to talk about those experiences in life we didn't know we all had in common. We're the after work happy hour conversation with your best friend.
You good up vibe, like, hello.
The place where you bring up the hard parts of life, the ones that made you laugh, and the things that made you who you are. Because who said becoming good up wasn't a little bit uncomfortable? Stay tuned for more information about this week's episode.
Here at the Good Up Pod, we're all about shedding light on life experiences that have contributed to who we are and learning to navigate them to find a feeling that's, well, good up.
For some of us, that journey includes therapy. Empath Psychological Services operates with the belief that life's challenges are not all of who we are.
They aim to create a non-judgmental environment to help their clients harness their own power and to find their path to mental well-being. Good Up and Empath Psychological Services share a passion for helping others navigate their own healing their way.
If you're interested in teletherapy services in the U.S. Virgin Islands or the state of Texas, check out the link in the description box for more information on how you can book a session with Empath Psychological Services. Hey, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of the Good Up motherfucking podcast. I am Beyonce's antennas in her beat costume from the Renaissance World Tour.
Yes, and I am the shea butter that makes all dark-skinned women look like magic.
That's a good thing to be this week, DJ. You know the fuck what? I like it.
Yes.
And specifically,
because I
am the antennas from the first costume, the original.
No, that first costume gave me everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like that first costume was just bananas.
Yeah.
Like her costumes be given, but that first costume, I kind of hope she bring it back for the American leg. Just saying.
Listen. So
by the way, I'm grateful for whatever Beyonce do, so I'm not complaining.
She could have come out there in a fucking rag, okay? I would have still spent my money and listened to she sing.
Okay. She could have come out with her fucking twist out. Okay. And her bonnet.
On road she'd wear under the wig. I really don't give a fuck. I would be there. Anyway.
Celebrating.
And you know what? Every time we talk about Beyonce, I'd be like, wow, I wonder if we have any audience members who are like, I'm kind of tired of them talking about Beyonce. And I'm
well, then this ain't the show for you, baby. You could go ahead and unsubscribe.
You don't have to be Hive, but at the very least, you need to tolerate the fact that we are, because...
Yeah, if you really are sick and tired of hearing us talk about Beyonce, then you're sick and tired of hearing this show, and you can go ahead and unsubscribe, because
this is a Beyonce, Lizzo, and Megan Thee Stallion stan podcast.
Indeed.
Okay.
So,
and your father love us for it. Happy Father's Day.
That post really made me feel good. Like when I saw, I was like, see, hey, I knows exactly how to do this.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how do we say that without,
and that's not to say I don't want to celebrate fathers. That's just, who are we as people? Who are we as a podcast? And what would I actually say on Father's Day? And really and truly,
right.
I love my father. I celebrated him. I gave him his whoop whoops,
I saw your post. It was really cute.
But at the end of the day, Father's Day is more about y'all posting your fine ass daddies and me liking their pictures than it is
I like
celebrating fatherhood.
You know who father I have a crush on Father's Day is how I find out how fine that man be. I feel like
Don't be calling me who father.
I was gonna say it because she know how much I want her father. Marquita. Her father is fine. Oh
Marquita,
my God.
Listen.
Marquita, I'm trying to
Marquita.
be I don't even need to be a stepmother. I just need to be like, I just want to smell his cologne.
Yeah.
He looked like he smelled good.
Listen. Father's Day is for that. Father's Day is definitely for looking at other people's fathers. Exactly. It's also for texting the man who you should have made a father and said, I should have do it when I had a chance. And then like blocking him, moving on. Express your toxicity this Father's Day. Sponsored by the Good Up.
Every time I wanted, because I feel like it's about that time for me to remind people to cheat back. But then I was like, fuck, I can't do this for Father's Day. Like, I need to wait, But you know what? Seeing all those little Father's Day posts, not even of like the men old enough to be our dads, but like the people in our, like the millennial dads. I was like, oh, this is warming my heart. This is
what's
really
funny?
cute.
Somebody went on Twitter and was like, since when everybody have a good relationship with their father?
Not gonna lie. I'm not
gonna lie. They
were
like, today feels very positive. What's
the
going
amount
on?
of honestly, the amount of abandoned millennials who I saw posting their dads. I'm like, wow, I didn't know she had a father too. Like,
hear me out though. Is it because we're all starting to go to therapy, and not all of us, but some of us are starting to kind of heal those relationships, maybe making some progress?
Recognizing that, or maybe like recognizing like, yeah, our parents probably did a shit job, but they were just human and they did the best they could with what they had.
Yeah, maybe I'm not necessarily excusing behaviors, but like maybe we're like cordial enough. Because I was one of those people who, like, junior high through my high school graduation, I was not seeing it for a man at all. I was even talking about it on Twitter yesterday. Like, I had so much smoke for Jesus Quinones that he was a saxophone player, is a saxophone player. And when I joined band, I chose clarinet for spite.
That's petty, because if Dylan ever chose like a woodwind or like a fucking trumpet, because I'm a lower brass mommy. I'm a lower brass mommy. And if Dylan joined band and then hit me with I'm gonna play the trumpet, I'm gonna be like, you can go live with somebody else.
Don't do that, because my father was upset. He was like,
no, I'm your daddy. No, I'm with you.
Then he went to my band director and was like, Mr. Thomas, no, she actually wants to play saxophone. So Mr. Thomas come to me and was like, are you sure you want to play clarinet?
That's so controlling.
I was like, sir, I'm playing clarinet. Thank you. And let me tell you how long I could hold a fucking grudge. I went to college and played clarinet there. I got myself to college on my pettiness.
On that clarinet.
Yes.
So I don't know that I would try to control Dylan's life like that. But what I would do is pick back up my trombone. And I would be in this motherfucking house fully just playing my trombone. And just be like, this could be you, but
for him.
Yeah, I'd be like, this could be you, but you chose to play that, because we're a lower brass family.
I wish I would have chosen trombone though, because there's something so fucking sexy to me about a woman playing trombone. About the instrument itself, but also about a woman in particular playing like anytime I see a female trombone player, I don't want them to step on me.
Yes,
going back to our fathers.
Back to our dads. So yeah, it was very I was like, oh, I didn't realize how many people actually were close to their dads, or maybe we're just so conditioned to pretend to be happy about something that I don't know. Anyway,
it felt genuine. It felt genuine, and
that's cute.
Speaking for myself, I did have smoke for that man. And then when I went through my therapy and all of that stuff, obviously my dad changed his behaviors.
Well, I think that's the
much better
thing.
Person now than he was back then. That's not to say he perfect, okay?
Right.
But I'm to the point where I'm like, I do love my daddy. I can celebrate that. But don't ask Hey Isaac from 2007 to post a Father's Day post, because that wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't waste my energy on those posts. But I did text the men in my life who deserved a happy Father's Day text, and that was about it. And whoever ain't get one, that's why you ain't get one.
And shout out to the good up father then, because we have a lot of
what I feel
members.
like the men in our community, in our audience, who are daddies, be daddying. Like,
they be daddying.
First of all, can we shout out Issa's daddy? We love that for you. This episode, I mean, we recording this, just to let y'all know, we were recording this right after Father's Day. Yeah. This is gonna come out well after Father's Day.
They're gonna be in July, like, okay, bitch.
Like, girl, keep it. Y'all could have kept this.
But no, shout out to all the good up, patrons, audience members who are dads, who are becoming dads, who became dads this year. Shout out to you.
And the ones who have stepped up to be somebody else's daddy, right? Yeah. Like those who met a woman and was like, oh my God, I want a cow, so I'm gonna take the calf, or whatever the old people used to say.
Jesus fucking God.
Whatever it is, shout out to y'all too, because y'all really be out here parenting people children, and them children to become our own, and y'all will be better daddies than some of these daddies in these streets. So shout out to y'all.
Can we talk about old time phrases and how them fuck just wild? I wanted the cow, so I took the calf, bitch. I am not a cow.
You never heard that phrase before? If you want,
first of all, I have a mother who was raised by Puerto Ricans. I don't hear the wildest shit come out of my mouth, and it's supposed to be like a deep analogy, and I'd be like, no, what you said was crazy, Maria. That was insane.
No, one time, my coworkers used to be so like taken aback when one time I tell somebody, monkey know what tree to climb, so
like.
But they got it though.
Like, don't get me wrong, that fucking makes sense. But you want the cow, so you like sometimes we always have to be some kind of farm animal.
Yeah, what is the reason? Can somebody hit up your grandmother or somebody and I just need to know, because I don't have to be a cow for somebody to take my calf, okay? Because me and him are more like a gazelle and whatever the kind of, babies gazelles are, right? Or like a deer and a fawn, right? But
okay, yeah, I I support it. But no, shout out to those men though, because I love to see it. My niece, she has a wonderful dad, and he is somebody who like came into her life later on, and like I just love seeing them. So
I love to see it.
All that being said, shout out to the man them who get pick me, and who love your pick me and your woman loudly and you know, as they deserve.
Like Deshane, he is in the first of all, were you crying? I was crying. Like,
you know how
tears.
people get up and throw their shoe?
Yes, it was. I was giving all of that because Deshane, you didn't prepare us. You could have texted me and give me a little heads up. He fully proposed to that baby before he even proposed to the mama. Okay? Okay? Happy I should have texted you a happy Father's Day text yesterday.
You know what my dream is? This is a new dream I just discovered. I want a man to approach us when the time comes, and if your woman is like a big fan of Good Up, I want you to tell we that you want to marry she, and I want us to bring you on as a guest on the show and propose to your woman you somehow on the Good Up podcast.
Or you could record like
we could record the episode and then go right in the car with she and listen to the episode, and then we're gonna be like, yeah, we got a letter from a fan, such and such. God. This letter is for his woman, and he want to know if you want to marry he or what.
Yeah, do you want to marry him or do you want to marry him?
Yeah.
So yes or not? Oh, that would be fun.
Just so if you want to propose to you,
yes, if you and your lady, you and your partner are big Good Up fans, and y'all want to do something really cute and special, then hit us up. Anywho, girl, let's get into the show because we're doing a lot. We're doing the most.
Are you doing your astrological forecast today?
Okay, so looking at this chart here, the sun is officially in Cancer. We're well into Cancer season. This is a really good time to do some nesting, if you will. If you've been feeling called to like deep clean your home, if you've been feeling called to really be more intentional about how you eat and just take care of your body and your home altogether. You know, sometimes you get those random feelings to just like deep clean the house, cook something really good, like, and it just all kind of works together. This is a good time to do that with the sun and moon being in such like hermity type signs. That's the best way I know to describe it. Mars just entered Virgo. So this is mutable energy, and this is really communicative energy. This is a good time, especially considering the amount of time Mars spent in Leo and everything that came with Mars being in Leo. Now that Mars is in Virgo, I feel like this is a time, I know with a lot of people have been kind of learning new routines or adapting to new routines. This is the time to make sure that the routine that you are leaning into is actually serving you, and to check in with yourself about why you've chosen this routine. You know what I mean? That way it remains sustainable. If by chance there's something that needs confronting, this is a suitable time to do that, because there's going to be level-headedness involved.
So level-headed confronting.
Yes, level-headed
we're addressing. We're not beating bitches up.
Exactly. We're addressing things because it's important. You know what I mean? Jupiter is in Taurus. This is very harmonious energy. I'm looking at a grand trine right now. So a trine in astrology is when two or more planets are in like the same element. And that's a very harmonious aspect. That is, I like to pretend that the planets are like party goers or relatives at like a family reunion. And this is like everybody's in sync. This is like that moment where several people are like in on a joke and kind of laughing with each other. And you know, like when you just keep in a joke running and you just keep like adding things to the joke, it's that kind of energy. So we have the moon in that energy. We have Mars in that energy, Uranus and Pluto. So that could be several things. Uranus is very unpredictable energy. So for some people, depending on where this falls, there could be some sort of like a very pleasant surprise. You might get a visit from family, like a surprise visit from a relative that you haven't expected to see or that you haven't seen in a while. It could look like a random bonus at work that you weren't expecting. It could look like your partner surprising you with some sort of an outing. It could be big or small, but this is very harmonious energy, especially because Uranus is a part of this energy. So this is a really good time to kind of clean up house, and not just your physical home, but this is a really good time to commune with your ancestors, especially the closer we get to that new moon in Cancer. This is a really good time to check in with yourself and see. This is a good time to recognize like aspects of of yourself that are directly related to your lineage. You know what I mean? Like if you have certain habits that you're proud of or not so proud of, recognizing that some of those habits come from like ancestry, and what do you want to do about them? You know, I hope all that stuff made sense. If you want to know how this directly impacts you, feel free to book a reading with me. We can do it together, and I can teach you how to do this on your own during that personal reading. This was fun.
Yeah.
And let me know. And if you guys enjoy this little astrological insight, put your favorite like celestial emojis in the comments, like the moon, the stars, the sun, anything related to space. Drop it in the comments.
So you could do that on IG at Good Up Pod. You could do that on Twitter at Good Up Pod, bitch. You could do that on Facebook at Good Up.
Exactly. Anyway, you could tweet us, whatever the case may be, but send us some celestial emojis.
Whatever you that. Shout out to the VIP section too, because now we have an IG group chat.
First of all, that group chat gonna be turned up. Shout out to the group chat.
I can't
put
wait.
it in the group chat too.
I cannot wait. Yeah, so we are here this week to talk about our deepest fears. So when I tell Deidre the topic, she was like, "Do I have any fears?"
I know. I need to get better at life. Like I really just be doing too much. Like I feel like I come on the show. I feel like at some point when we have these types of conversations, I feel like people will be like, "Oh my God, here she go again."
So like, I mean, I think for you know yourself very well, and that's fair. Like,
thank you.
And all you could do is be honest. But when I'm speaking about fear, I'm talking about the common fears like, oh, I'm afraid of the dark, or I'm afraid of this, or I'm afraid of that. But I'm also talking about the internal, like more psychological fears that we have, such as like, I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of disappointing people. I'm afraid of losing control. Like, I want to talk about all of those different types of fears, right? And in order for us to
I'm gonna be so annoying this episode. I'm sorry. I only have one big fear.
Which is, well, no, hold on. We're going to get it yet. We're going to get it yet.
I know. Well, two. Actually, it's two, but they're semi-related. But yeah, we'll get there. I'll let you do what you got to do, girl.
So fear is an emotion or feeling that we feel based on a belief that we might be in danger or that we are in danger. And some fear is healthy, such as when we actually are in danger and we have a physical and psychological response to it. And this is called rational fear. But there are other types of fear that are called irrational fears that don't really serve a purpose. So we're going to talk about both. And I actually pulled up a journal prompt kind of thing to kind of go through together so that we can identify possible fears and like talk about where those thought processes come from. So even if it's not a current fear, if it used to be a fear, I actually want to talk about like, where did it come from? How did you get over it? Okay. So the number one question is, what is something you absolutely hate doing? Like one thing you just hate doing, and how does it?
I hate engaging in like small talk, especially with people who I know don't really care about it. Like, if that makes sense. Like if we run into each other, like and I'm specifically referring to people who I don't have some sort of like an emotional investment into, they don't have any kind of investment into me. If we run into each other, I'm okay with us just doing a quick hi and bye. Like, hey, good to see you, keeping it pushing. But I don't like engaging in like small talk just because I ran into somebody that I haven't seen in a while.
So what about the small talk, like, I guess makes you uncomfortable, or like, what about it don't you like?
So sometimes I feel like, and this kind of goes back to the last episode about like people pleasing. I feel like there's a little people pleaser in us that feels this need to be like, oh, I haven't seen you in so long. We should catch up. We should get together sometime. We both know we lying, right? We don't need to do that. We could just, hey, nice to see, what a surprise, and just keep it pushing. But then like, I don't know. I feel like small talk just kind of like drains me. And I just feel like we could run into each other and just, you know, be pleased to see each other and keep it pushing.
I don't like small talk either, but it's because I don't feel like I do it well. Let me just be honest. white people have mastered the art of small talk, right? White people could just sit there and talk all day about just the most mundane shit, and you would swear they actually give a fuck about getting to know each other and like talking. They don't be giving a fuck.
And the thing is they don't even remember what they discussed. And I think that's why small talk irritates me, because it's like you don't even remember what you discussed the last time you did small talk. So what's the point?
I think that's my problem, is that like, one, I probably don't even remember where I met you because I meet so many people because of my job. Two, I don't know how to come up with something to talk about. Three, I think white people just have this sometimes vast set of like stored knowledge for the purpose of small talk to like just bring up random shit. Oh yeah, such and such is in town for a concert. Have you ever listened to them? And I'm like, fuck no, I ain't listened to them.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, maybe do that. Is that a white people thing? Like, I'd just be sitting there like, dude, I am not prepared for this conversation. So I know I don't like it either.
So that's the thing. Like, that's a good point.
There is a fear there of me looking stupid. I don't like to look stupid. I don't like to sound dumb. I don't like to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about.
See,
so if I talking to somebody and it's awkward, or like I say something and like they don't laugh, or like they don't really react, I'll be like, oh God, kill me now. I want to leave.
That's fascinating for me. It's not even that. It's just I just kind of find myself like, we don't have to do this. Like, you know, like
I just be like, please leave me alone, man. I don't want, like, why we can't just hide? I'm like, let's move on.
Like, prime example, right? I have a fun little part-time job. I literally report to this place once a week. So me and my coworkers, we have a pleasant rapport where at the workplace we kind of kiki a little bit, but we're not like super tight. Ran into the manager, and I think she was getting off the train and I was getting on. And I just loved, and she's a Gemini. Shout out to the air signs. Boop, boop. It was just so quick. It was just like, oh, hey, girl, we just kept it pushing. We didn't have to stop and chat. We didn't have to. It was just like, hey, good, boom, out of here. We don't have to stop. I think
that's the other thing too, is like small talk requires me to have a conversation with somebody who I probably just would not interact with. On like,
that's the thing, because it's like, I don't need to know, oh, where are you on your way to? Your outfit is good. We don't have to do all that. Hey girl, how like, you doing?
Target, don't leave me alone.
Listen,
leave me alone. How's Steven? You don't need to know that.
You don't even care. You barely remember his name. You had to like muster it up while you were walking over to me.
PH or V, bitch? You tell me.
It's just kind of like random to me, and just so that's something that I absolutely hate engaging in, is small talk or just doing. Other than that, I can't really think of, because the thing is I've worked so hard to enjoy my life that I can't really think of things that I'm like, that I have to do that I don't like to do, or that I hate to do. You know what I mean?
Well, with that, we'll move on to the next question. Well, I
you piggybacked on mine.
Something I hate doing. It's a love-hate. I love to travel, but I hate getting there. I hate everything about flying on a plane. I hate driving. I hate just getting places. And there's a lot of layers to that, right? But I have a fear of
I know
dying
one of them
while traveling.
Yeah. So, I know your car accident is a factor.
Yeah. So every time I travel, my brain goes to like, oh, we might not make it home. And I just be like, Jesus, fuck. Like, why do we have to think about that? So I don't. And then there's other layers to it though. I don't like traveling because it requires me to be around a bunch of strangers who people I think display their worst behaviors at the airport.
What's up with that? No. Okay. I don't
or on public transportation.
I don't think I'm a judgmental person by any means, but I be judging people at the airport.
I am a judgmental ass bitch. I am judging.
I was just at the airport. And somebody's daughter was, you know, like when you lay on your stomach on the floor and you have your like feet bent up in the air. This little girl, she was somewhere between 10 and 12, and she was on the floor. You know, the nasty carpeted area by the gate where you wait for your plane? Like, she was on the floor like she was in her mother's living room. Listen, and she was so comfortable on her little iPad. And I'm like, if y'all don't get your daughter off this nasty floor, I'll be saying anything, but I was fully judging that.
Shit.
You think Dylan whatever? Dylan already know.
All up behind you in a line. People rushing the gate like they don't have boarding groups. People standing up on a plane before it's time to get a fuck off. And before, listen to me. Before you come on this podcast and say, I don't have to stand up because my legs will be hurting. Bitch, I have a damaged spine, okay? My spine is made of paper mache and hopes and fucking dreams. Sit your ass down until they open the goddamn gate. Your back is not the problem, and neither are your legs.
What
you just can't
me,
wait.
And I had to get to the point where I just ignore those. Like, you know what it's like for people sitting in row 39 to be standing up before the door,
especially
even
if you're in a window seat and the middle seat and aisle seat are sitting. Pa, you going? Where are you going? And then you gonna turn to look at them. Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
I'm not getting up.
Ignore the fuck out of
I'm
you.
literally not getting
I'm not getting
Granted,
up.
I don't sit back there because my knees be hurting. Like, I'm too tall for the back of the plane. I don't tell people this out. Like, I don't mean to
exit row is where it is.
I love the exit, but I can't fly the exit row when Dylan's with me because children aren't allowed in that row.
Yeah, you gotta be
so I can only fly that row when Dylan's not with me. So
listen.
In any case, people let me all the way in row like 49 and they're standing up. Like, girl.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of discomfort with that. It's not being in my house, in my safe space. It's just like I don't like it. The funny part though is like I love going to new places. I love going home. Like I love to travel, but I don't like the act of traveling. So when I get to
you're gonna have
because we recording the episode coming out after ICU, but we're recording it before I get. But when I reach, just when you see the look on my face of like I've been in a plane all day,
it's gonna be fun. In any case, that aside, I love hosting people, and so even though you're gonna have to deal with the unpleasantness of traveling, you're gonna come to a very welcoming environment. The girls will have most likely just been groomed because they're due for a groom around that time anyway. So you're gonna be able to snuggle with my dogs. The place is gonna smell like baked goods. I'm probably gonna cook something delectable for you. Everybody knows that my guests get a welcome basket. You're gonna ask Diamond, ask my niece, ask my ex.
At least I look forward to that because at least that curbs some of the travel anxiety.
Oh yeah, you're gonna come and all that anxiety, it's just gonna melt away. You're not gonna want to leave. So I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna take you to the city. We're gonna go visit New York on a ferry. Like, it's just my favorite way to go to the city. Like, once it's warm out, instead of taking a train to New York, we hop on the ferry, go up top, we enjoy the water, we walk around. It's gonna be fun. You're gonna love it. You're not gonna want to leave.
So, well, in thinking about that, speaking of anxiety, right? Speaking of anxiety, is there anything that causes you anxiety? I ain't gonna ask you if you have anxiety because sometimes we get past our anxiety, but is there anything that causes like temporary anxiety for you?
Dylan's wellness, or especially his mental wellness. The only thing that really causes me anxiety is I'm just always worried that if Dylan is okay, like, is he going through anything emotionally that he's not sharing with me? Is he getting along with his friends? What is he up to when he's in that room playing on the internet? You know, like those are the things that kind of cause anxiety. One of my biggest fears is that Dylan is experiencing any kind of like negativity or unpleasantness and he doesn't feel like he can share it with me.
So you do have a fear?
Well, I'm going to share my actual fear because it's not, again,
it's a fear.
It's a fear.
It's a fear.
It's a fear, but the reason why I don't really necessarily consider it a fear is because it is something that I can control in some fashion. But I can make sure that I'm doing my part to create space for him to know he can come to me. And if he doesn't come to me, then at the very least, I know I've done everything I could for him to come to me. You know what I mean?
But I think at the end of the day, and this is not me saying like, you will always be afraid of this. I think at the end of the day, it is always going to be a fear for you as his mom for his mental wellness to be okay. And that's why I'm like, that is a fear, Deidre. Because like, even with the traveling, like, obviously I can't control the pilot or any of those things, but like, there are things I can do to like soothe that anxiety and like, kind of focus on the logical aspects of traveling to like curb the fear, but at the end of the day it's still a fear. So I think fearing for his mental wellness is like a valid fear that you have.
Now the only fear that are you ready for this one, or is it not time yet?
No, well, go tell me.
Because the only actual fear that I have is I have two fears. The number one fear is outliving him. I have a huge fear of outliving Dylan. The other fear is me dying and not having proper preparations in place. You know what I mean? Like me passing away and then he's not set up for life. You know what I mean? So it's things like that. Obviously, like that comes with making sure you have proper life insurance policies and all that jazz. But it's things like that. It's just like us being separated in that fashion too soon. Like I intend to live a very long life. I intend for when I die, it's like, well, yeah, she's fucking 190. Like, of course she's dead. Like, obviously he's gonna be sad, like, damn, I miss my mom. But at the same time, I want it to be one of those things where he's like, well, it was inevitable. She had to die at some point. But I don't want it to be like this traumatic thing where she was too young, I'm too young. Who the fuck do I have now?
Yeah.
That's the only fear
absolutely
that
valid.
Yeah, that's the only fear that really looms over me. Everything else, even though I would feel the fear, I already know like there's something I can do about that fear. You know what I mean?
So let me ask, like, what do you do about that fear of, like, you know, passing on before him or passing on and him not being taken care of? Like, how do you,
I feel like I
guess,
can't do anything. I feel like I can't do anything about that one. I just kind of have to let it pass. I have to remind myself to be present in the moment, because the reality is if I die tomorrow, that's outside of my control. You know, I'm not going to take my life. So if I die unexpectedly, I just die unexpectedly. It is what it is. I'm dead. So the fearing will matter at that point. So I kind of just let those fears, I just kind of let them go. They don't come often.
Listen.
When they do, I like obsessively look for like life insurance and shit.
Like, the fear of death, I think is such an interesting fear, because it is the one thing that is guaranteed to us in this life, right?
Exactly.
And when people say, oh, don't worry about, like, I think even before my accident, I have always had a fear of death in some way, shape, or form. And my fear of death originated because of Christianity and this like obsession with going to hell, and me feeling like, if there's this thing in church, right, especially in like extreme religious settings, where it's like, what if you die tomorrow? What if you die tomorrow and you ain't get your life right with God? Like, and telling somebody, by the way, telling a fucking child that is insane. So,
you know, I'm proud to say that Dylan is 9 years old and he's never set foot in a church. Like, I purposefully have never taken my child to church for that reason. Because y'all ain't gonna have my child afraid of his own existence.
It's terrifying. So like, obviously, like, those are things that I was fixating on, constantly being told, like, you have to get your life right or you could go to hell. You could die tomorrow. God could come tomorrow. It could happen at any time. And them describing like the rapture and all these things. And then also being the living embodiment of one of the sins that they would always talk, like, I knew I liked girls since I was like 6. So I'm like a living abomination.
Can we talk about the rapture though? Because that rapture had me in a fucking chokehold.
A chokehold.
Fuck the rapture.
If I ever hear a trumpet outside, bitch, I might jump. I don't know.
I was 100% sure I was getting left behind. Did you ever see that movie, Left Behind? Hey, Isa, after I watched that movie, I knew I was getting left behind. Like,
I had just fucking known. I had no, I was gonna hear that thunder clap and look around at my mother, we're gonna be done.
I knew that people's clothes was gonna be on the floor next to me.
So that those fears originated. It was the fear of like this rapture. It was the fear of going to hell and being tortured by demons. And so obviously that becomes a fear of death and all these things and dying.
And don't let a relative die, you know. Any little thing I do, I feel like they're right next to me watching me engage in sin. Oh my God. Y'all really was traumatizing.
I used to be scared, and then I would talk to adults about this like fear of like, you know, well, what happens when you die? And like, obviously we're from the Virgin Islands, so people die all the time through violent reasons and other reasons. So I've had friends who have died. I've seen, you know, people in my neighborhood get murdered, just all types of shit. So I would ask adults like, yo, like, I scared of dying. What do you think happens when you die? And they would just be, don't think about that. Don't worry about that. Which obviously is probably their own fear of death.
Because they don't know how to explain it.
So I developed this like, I don't know what happens. I can't control what happens. And over time, obviously the accident exacerbated it. But I was talking to my therapist about it, and my therapist was like, you know, you have to, in order to like get through your fear of death, you have to acknowledge the reality that death is. You have to accept and acknowledge that you are going to die. And when even her saying that, and I feel like I'm upset because I'm talking about it now and I feel fine. But her talking about it, my chest used to start feeling warm. I was like, I don't want to talk about it. If I used to think too much about the fact that I am going to die and like what that's going to be like, I used to like panic, because what happens to my family? What happens to Steven? What if I don't have my shit together? Like all this.
And you know what's funny is before I had Dylan, I was not afraid of death at all. I actually embraced it. I was like, damn, what's that going to be like? It might be because I'm a Scorpio rising, to be honest. But I've always been like,
But you were like, who am I going to be there?
Like, what's that going to be like? Like, am I going to feel it? Like, I really was like, what is it like? Is it going to be giving? Like, I just love that you and I are polar opposites.
I didn't mean to laugh. It's just the fact that he was like,
I'm like, it's gonna be my sleep. It's gonna be like, you know. But then I had that baby, and then I was like, oh, like it's gonna be lit. But I have to make sure that he's prepared for it before it happens. I don't want it to be traumatic for him. You know what I mean? So now I kind of
let me say this, and I hope that this does not sound like me negating your fear in any way. I don't think anything is going to prepare him for it. And I say this because I have watched both my parents lose their mothers in the past 4 years. They knew it was coming. Both knew it was coming. But the
I get that
impact of it is still traumatic.
And that's fine. I just want him to be a fully grown adult.
Yeah.
Which is fair. That's what I want. For me, I don't want it to be like my 12-year-old son just lost his favorite person in the whole world. That's absolutely
because it's definitely more
you in your 50s, your mama just passed away. It's like, oh my God, my heart is broken.
And
but it's not
it's
like
expected to a certain
I want to be a great grandmother when I die. Like I want my grandkids to be grown when I die. Like I want to be that old person who's booed up with my great grandchildren. Yeah. And I just had the best day. And then I gardened. I spent all day in my garden. Mm-hmm. I got to hang out with my great grandbaby. Right. And then I go home and I have a pleasant evening. Right. And I soak in the tub. And then I go to bed and just never wake up.
Like Rose and Titanic.
I know that sounds a little bit too like
no, specific. I mean, listen, my grandmother who just passed, my mother said she was sitting in her bed one day and she looked at my mother and she said, I'm tired. And my mother said, what? She didn't hear her. She was like, I'm going. And my mom was like, going where? Like, what the fuck you going?
Girl, home, bitch. What you mean?
And my grandma said, I'm going to be with the Lord. And within a week after that, my grandmother had passed away. So she knew, she decided she was tired. She was done being sick.
I was done.
And she was going home. And as sad as the whole situation was, something about my grandmother deciding it was her time to go is empowering. Like, you go.
I really want something like that. Like I want it to be a thing. You go. I just really want it to be like, even though Dylan's gonna be a grown man and he's still devastated and sad, at least he'll be grown enough to have the tools to deal with it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It'll just be a thing like it is what like mommy had to die at some time, you know, like
the other thing that helped me in processing my fear of death was planning what happens after I die, like in a Word document. That was something that was recommended.
Oh, like your funeral and shit?
I literally wrote down what happens if I get incapacitated and you have to decide whether or not to keep me on life support.
I should do something like that.
What goes where in terms of my belongings, which I don't have much. What would I like a memorial to look like for me? What are my wishes to be buried or cremated? Like I just literally wrote it all down in a Word doc on my Google Drive where I know somebody gonna be able to access it. And I told Steven where it was, and then we never talk about it again. But I told him, like, I need to do this because a part of my fear of dying is you not knowing what to do. And my family not knowing what to do. So I needed to just do that, right? But also something about talking about your death as if it is an event that's going to happen to make you kind of like, okay,
accept it.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea. That's dope. Shout out to your therapist.
I think that the one thing that I think might be helpful, and obviously I'm not a professional, so I think that talking about your death, even with your loved ones, just like starting to incorporate death into conversations, not to be morbid, but to just speak frankly about it. Talking to Dylan about death, because
he's aware of how death works and shit.
Because the other part of it, and something I watched in a video, was that death is traumatic for us because typically the first time that we experience death is when it's someone close to us, and it's like that's the first time we talk about it is when we are experiencing somebody suddenly dying. versus you've talked about it, you kind of understand how it works, you've prepped for it, and then maybe somebody happens to die. It's like, for us, death is like, somebody die, we have to go to a funeral, everybody's crying, we get over it, and then we never talk about it again.
Right.
Instead of, this is a cycle of our lives, that this is just a part of it, just like a wedding, just like graduating from high school, like it's death, it's a part of it.
Yeah. So, and I'm not gonna lie, like, okay, so I want to be cremated, but at the same time, one time I witnessed like a funeral that was happening near me.
Episode about death instead of fear.
I know.
I'm okay with that.
What the hell? But we're gonna transition back to fear. But there's I live near a cemetery. Mm-hmm. One day I was I wasn't taking a nap. I was preparing for the nap. Mm. But then I heard like like the clickety clacking of like a horse walking down the street. Mm. So I heard that. I said, "What is going on?" I got up and I looked out the window, honey, and somebody's casket was being brought to the cemetery in like a horse-drawn carriage. And I said, "Bitch, that is how I expect to be taken." So now
So you want to be buried?
See, I always wanted to be cremated, but now with that horse-drawn carriage, I'm like,
Deidre,
the horses were white. Let me tell you how fascinated I was, right? I threw on my flip-flops. Thank God it was like warm out, right? It was summertime. I fucking scrambled for my flip-flops and my keys, and I followed this damn funeral down the street. I think I walked like 4 blocks to the cemetery because it was just so beautiful. It was this gorgeous carriage, and whoever the deceased was, their loved one was sitting in like the seat part of the carriage. And this dude is there with his little motherfucking whip, right? It was a horse-drawn carriage. I was like, I'm really torn right now, so I don't know anymore.
I want to be cremated. I told Steven, I don't care if you got to put me in an Altoids box. Just cremate my ass and take me home. Don't put me in no fucking ground in Arizona. Don't put me in no fucking ground in Texas. Put me in a shoebox if you have to, and take my ass to the west side of St. Croix, not east, not Mid-Island, west.
Yeah. It's a west girl should be.
Sprinkle me in a fucking water pipe belong, and then drink a Corona and have the time of your fucking life.
You so annoying. So here's the thing. I definitely, so before I saw the horse-drawn carriage, which really left me torn, my initial desire was to be cremated and to be taken like on a boat out to sea and to be like sprinkled in our ocean. But I do want the razzle dazzle. Y'all ain't gonna just do no casual shit. Y'all gonna be dressed down, okay? I don't want no bitches that don't like a I don't want no bitches that don't like a
nice crisp linens.
Yeah, y'all gonna be well dressed.
This is an occasion.
Y'all better hire a makeup artist, okay? Because I'm gonna haunt you if you don't, right? I need the people who are close to me to be the ones that are brave enough to say, "Why are you here? Deidre didn't even fuck with you like that." I need that kind of drama.
I've always said, if I see a single person writing on my Facebook wall, drag them, please.
Also, and I've made this clear, this is a joke me and Glennis have always shared with each other. If I die and you have like a job that you got to check into, please, if you don't want to go to work, bereavement.
Use me,
please. Use me.
Deidre, I tweet that from today. This is how I know you and I were meant to be sisters.
We're so
I literally tweeted that shit today. I said, if I die and you need a day off, use me. Even if we weren't close, use me.
But you know what? That's how I know
your day off.
You know, I don't even be on Twitter. You know, I don't even open that damn app. So the fact that use me, okay, take the day off, okay,
use me.
All of it. Don't
even if 6 months later you just my name crash your mind and you say, I don't want to go walk today. Fake a little tear, sis.
Another thing,
there is no ethical nothing in a capitalist society.
I'm already dead.
Fuck these people.
Exactly. Fuck that job. Fuck them people. Use me. But so I know a lot of people tend to shift away from like black and like the mourning colors, but I want like funeral realness. Like I want the birdcage veils. I want funeral.
I come in like how Beyonce in the Heaven video.
Yes, that's what I want. I want big sunglasses. I want you to look devastated.
Do you want me to like scream and throw myself in your casket?
No, absolutely not. No. That's where I draw the line.
I'll keep it to
You're going to come to my dignified affair. Okay. You're going to look crisp. Okay. If you
I'm gonna act dignified.
I want the dignified tears, right?
I
want, you know what I do want? you want to eulogize me?
I could give a good ass speech.
Yeah, because you're gonna be like, you're gonna write it good with the good words.
I'm gonna be like,
but I want y'all to like surround Dylan, but also give him his space, you know? I really want that drama. I want everybody to have a single white or red rose, right? And I want you all to like throw it at my grave if I'm getting buried, because you know that horse-drawn carriage really fucking sending me like I don't know what to do.
I know the audience like, how did we get here, dog? How did we get here?
Listen, we could do a poll. Let me know if I need to be cremated and dumped in the Caribbean Sea, or if we need this horse-drawn carriage, because
you know what though, I love that this turned into a conversation about death and instead of fear though, because like for a lot of people that is a number one fear is death, and like people don't talk about it openly. Like we only talk about funerals and death when we are at a funeral or have just experienced a death. And you know what, like we need to maybe start talking about it. We need to be preparing our kids, because the reality is like, I don't be joking about, oh, you could go outside and get hit by a bus, but I not too long ago, I was driving. Do you remember I was driving somewhere with Steven and a woman get hit by a car?
Oh my God.
She's fine. She was not injured. She is okay. So if I laugh about it,
but then she like fly up in the air or something?
She fly up in the air and all her shit went everywhere like fucking Sonic coins. Okay. It was hilarious to think about now. But she is okay. She's okay. But still, it happened. It's the Sonic rings. It was like it was crazy. It flew in the fucking air. I thought it was just movies, but it was real life. So anyway, it reminded me, and she was crossing the street minding her business, okay, and she get licked down by a fucking Prius or some shit. So you know, I joke about it, but it could happen, bitch. Like I don't be pulling shit out of my ass. This is real life.
Yeah, for sure.
I imagine she would just like, I about to cross the street to the Shell gas station and grab me a big gulp and go about my day. And that Prius said, no, bitch. I about to fuck up the rest of your afternoon. You don't know.
You never know.
You don't
so,
know.
You know, I just feel like we should all just normalize planning our funerals, right? Because I feel like it's a bad bitch affair. Okay. Yeah. Don't listen. And don't be.
So what is yours gonna be like?
And I'm gonna tell you again. Let me tell you how much I'm gonna haunt y'all. If I see a t-shirt with angel wings to my funeral, I gonna haunt you on a scunt.
Do not put them fucking clouds.
If I see a GoFundMe for my funeral, I gonna haunt you on a scunt.
You know what though? Okay. Let me say this. If my family needs help, if they need community, y'all show up like a fucking community, okay? It don't have to be a good GoFundMe. Yeah. But I have seen the worst of people after a funeral who'll be like, let me know if you need anything, and then don't say fucking boo, okay? So,
oh my gosh.
If my family need I'll show up for my family. But if I put me on them fucking clouds, okay, you gonna notice all your light them start flickering. You gonna notice a lot of shit in your house going wrong.
Your paintings gonna start falling off the wall
everywhere.
Your dominoes gonna keep falling off the table. Your cards gonna be flying everywhere. I am going to haunt you. So there's that. I think I'm going to just I'm just gonna really specifically like plan it out, right? Dylan's gonna have it. And then obviously, you know what else I want? I want a very dramatic will reading. Like I want Dylan sitting in the front, and I want like the attorney, and then I want like all my nieces and nephews in the back, honey. And I want like obviously it's gonna be like Dylan gets everything, right? But there's gonna be things that I leave to like my nieces and nephews, and there's gonna be things that I leave to different organizations. And I just want it to be like one of those things, like who gets Deidre's garden? Who gets Deidre's garden? Like who gets her fucking beach house? Like who get?
I put that in my little Google Drive because I plan to update it as you know I go through life or whatever, and things get more real. Like obviously I don't really have assets now, but when I do, then I could put that in there. But right now I have like, where would I like you to donate or whatever, like specific organizations and all of that stuff, like my memorial, all of that shit. I literally put like the like my social media presence, like I wrote about it. I was like, I have created things. I have built a community online. And if I die suddenly, my family needs to say something, because I cannot stand, and this is not shading people who's like family members die and they don't say nothing. But I don't like when people are like overly mysterious about when a public figure dies, because, and this is probably just my background in public relations, people have vested interest in public figures and people who have platforms, and you should at least say something. You don't have to give details, but you should say something. That's not to say I think I is the governor of fucking Maryland, okay, bitch? I just think they should say something. But
that's fair though. That's very fair.
Yeah.
So luckily that's gonna be many, many, many years from now. Like a very long time, because I'm not finna come up on this mic shedding tears talking about some Isa died.
But I would like you to at least do a last episode if I do. Just be like, Ayo.
I'm not doing that. I'm gonna go on and I'm gonna say whatever the last episode y'all heard is the last episode, because I have to go mourn my fucking sister. I might go live. I might go live.
Okay,
so that's the best I could do. I might go live from our page, but
what if I ask for this, right? What if I say, hey, not immediately after,
just who gonna edit the episode?
Just post the shit in the hat. So you could do it well edit. So what if you wait 6 months to a year after and you do literally one last episode I got up and said, this is for Hey Isa, bitch. You get drunk, you tack your shit in my memory and it done. That's all I want.
You know what I would do? Okay, if I'm gonna wait 6 months to a year, I'm going to make it a live episode in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
And even if we don't do it live, it'll be like a live show that gets posted as an episode, kind of like how the Read does there. That's the most I could do. And it'll be like a thing where it's like the anniversary of her funeral or some shit.
I love it.
And we'll talk, and
I love it.
That's the most I could offer you, because wow.
Well, thank you for that. With that being said, I noticed this feels like a very short episode, but we get shit to do. We
got things to do. It's summertime and we're
running up on our time. But yeah, we love Ayobad. I want this to be an audience conversation. So I want Aya to like post your thoughts on death. Like, is it something you fear? Is it something you've accepted? What do you think happens when you die? Maybe we should do a part 2 to this, because I kind of want to talk more about that. Like, what do you think happens when you die?
Like, what is it? I just want to know what it feels like. I mean, I don't want to know right now.
Yeah. And maybe we could get somebody on here who's had a near-death experience, because I actually want to know. I want to know. Anyway,
I'm always so fascinated with those stories. Like,
okay, we'll make this a part 2. But y'all know where to find us on social media everywhere at Good Up Pod. You could join the VIP Good Up section on Facebook and Instagram and Patreon at patreon.com/Good Up Podcast. And yeah, we love Ayobad. Thank you for all the love. Make sure you leave a review. Make sure you like up our pages and stuff, and we will see you later. Shout out to our season sponsor. Shout out to my Good Up motherfucking co-host who come here, face beat, skin glowing every fucking day, muscles popping, popping. And yes, she might say fuck too much, but that's none of your fucking business.
It's really not.
Actually, it's me. I just say fuck more than everybody on.
I was about to say, who went in the comments and said I said fuck too much?
Them I said, well, you. But I was like, it's really me.
Wait, somebody said that I just said fuck too much?
Yeah, YouTube. I gonna show you later. It was an episode that was like, she drops the F-bombs too much. And I was like,
because the last time I checked, I'm a grown woman. If you don't like it, there's a lot of other things you can listen to and watch, babe.
Well, which was my response. I was like, no, that's who we are. Thanks for listening. Bye. All right. We love Ayo. We'll see Ayo on the next episode, and Ayo gonna love the next fucking episode. I swear. Are you gonna tell the people about it? This season of the Good Up Podcast is sponsored by Empath Psychological Services. The Good Up Podcast is Black woman hosted and produced by Deidre Ritter and Hey Isa Quinones Ivory. Find us on all social media platforms at Good Up Pod. Tag us using the hashtag Good Up Tuesday, and join the VIP section over on Patreon for exclusive bonus content at patreon.com/Good Up Podcast.